Warm welcome to everyone here as we gather around and settle in for session 13 of the Shrouded Shore. I'm Ameline, Dragon Mom and Dungeon Master for today's session, and with me are Cross as,
Justicia!
Draken as,
Maker.
Vertizen as,
I'm grim.
and Yulia as sick, unfortunately. All love and good energy be sent her way. She is not feeling well right now. However, to begin, let us simply kick it off. It has been a 5-day trip to reach Pymus again. Just moving along the road, heading through the rain, passing by a few other rebels moving in the opposite direction to Thorthwell to shore it up just a little bit. Not a single sight of hide or hair or brazen helm of any kind of imperial presence on the road. And when you actually reach the town proper, you just sort of walk in. No one's stopping you. You're waved in through the gate without any real fuss. And there's no real espionage needed to find other rebels in the settlement and set up on a boat, a passage to the city of Scitha. However, as much as Scitha is a large city, it is a significantly bigger town than Pymus is. Is there anything that you need to do before you push off from the mainland? You've got a...
Do they
Sorry?
have it? Do they have any good smiths?
They
There.
have some decent ones here, but Scitha basically you are going to have access to quite a few craftsmen there.
Okay, so
Traveling with one.
You are in fact traveling with a craftsman. It's true.
okay.
I think, Crom would, just pick up some, what are they called? Sterling tools
Sterling tools.
while he's here?
Those are for silver or wait.
Let me,
Sterling tools are just masterwork
I
tools.
see.
yeah. He hasn't,
Yeah,
he
you can
needs to upgrade his
you can definitely
tools.
buy those.
Maker himself has a set of Sterling calligraphy tools.
You know, if someone needs something written by hand, he's gonna write that thing. But
It's what he uses it for the rune craft.
But in that case, you are able to do a little bit of shopping before pushing off in a small vessel. It is actually a captured imperial vessel, or quote-unquote captured. It's unclear whether it was actually ever fought over. It is the same model as the vessel that was transporting you to Partu in the first place. Though this trip is significantly comfier. There are beds below decks, there are some partitions, actual supplies. You're not chained up in a crowded hold with a bunch of other chattel ready to be processed into thralls. Overall, far superior experience. It's not just the model that you're traveling in. That being said,
Does Canceramicus come with us on the ship, or do we leave him back on the mainland?
that is up to you. He doesn't fit on this ship, but you can ask them to send him on the next, big ship to Scitha.
We can't leave Canceramicus behind. He's part of our family.
Okay, you're sending
He's the
they're
only
sending him on
other-
the next big ship to Scitha Ligan. He will arrive a couple days behind you with a bunch of supplies, probably. You guys are just getting priority, basically. Like, it is important to move you, so they're using a smaller vessel to do it.
Yeah.
And the a secondary member and deputy of Clan Volantilis. We can't leave him there unless he can hold down a fort.
What is the check for animal empathy?
Animal
It-
empathy. Would that be nature?
I think it's nature in this system. Animal handling, rather. Proficiencies. It is, yeah, I think it's just nature in this system. Survival, maybe. Give me a survival or a
In-
nature check.
Uh,
Your
well, they're about the same, so
You look deep into the heart of Canceramicus, and you feel this crab knows what the deal is. This crab will be able to survive a few days without you in the care of trained stable hands.
we can't leave him behind, Crom. How can we leave him behind?
You'll be fine. I don't. Do crabs get seasick?
No, they don't. Occasionally, a crab will actually like fall off a boat or something like that, but they're fine. They're crabs. They can survive in the water. It's sort of
I assume he can
Yes.
swim. Yes.
Well, I'll make sure he gets plenty of rest, and he really likes the chapters 4 and 23 of the Tales of Atlantis, and she starts listing to the stable hands all the things she thinks Canceramicus needs to
here's
survive
the thing.
while they're gone.
Here's the thing. You're important. So like they have to listen to you. They're taking notes. They are taking notes, and you get the impression this stable hand is like, oh god, this is an important crab. This is Lady Volantilis's crab. We have to take care of it. The crab has the name. The crab has the clan name. It's Canceramicus Volantilis.
He pats Canceramicus goodbye. Be good now. Don't cut anyone in half. You'll do great.
The crab is extremely nonviolent. It probably has never cut anything in half in its life other than like dinner. But
She's thinking of the lobster.
yes. But you get on your ship and set out. It's a bit blustery out, wind, rain, but it is not long before one day passes into the next, and it is ultimately just past dawn on the 16th of Tintria, morning of the third day of the voyage. You were held up by kind of battening down hatches during a storm on the second day, which might have been a little bit unpleasant being on a boat during stormy weather again, but it wasn't properly like one of those tempests. It was just choppy waters and wanting to lower the anchor to make sure that you don't get dragged into anything.
Rom got a little bit nervous when the storm was happening again. Didn't want to get shipwrecked a second time. Once was enough.
That being said, on the morning of the third day of the voyage, your first glimpse of Scitha Ligan is of the great stone arch that gates its harbor off from the wider ocean. The soaring cliffs around the island have always held it at a remove. Even before the Imperial occupation, the great port of Scitha Ligan stood apart, originally settled by seafaring tribes who wished to maintain their ties to Bartuvian kindred, but did not feel quite comfortable settling on the shores of an unknown island. Sheer rock walls and only a single sea passage ensures that it is all but impregnable from without. Freshwater springs and abundant forests and fisheries rendered siege a non-issue. One moment. status activate.
Oh, that's a bait.
Ooh.
Could I get a history check from everyone,
History.
including from Bayleaf, for whom this check is significantly easier? I will roll for Bayleaf.
You mean a society,
Society,
check, for
yes,
the
I am
record.
sorry. So,
You know what?
mhm.
Crom shouldn't roll that. Even though he got a critical, he wouldn't know anything about Part 2 in particular, so just ignore whatever Crom
I'll
got.
let you just share the result with Bayleaf and say that
Okay.
Crom has been talking with Bayleaf during this voyage. And you know that from those conversations that Scitha Ligan was originally captured by Eridon through surrender and intimidation, not an actual invasion. Stand apart they might, but with Nessus dead and countless Partuvian cities occupied, resistance had seemed futile and painful at the time. Once a dreadnought had disgorged its occupying force, it had become a key point in the Empire's projection of power across western Partu. After all, it was all but impregnable, at least apparently until the city drove out the invaders themselves. You can see those now, history check or no, dangling far overhead as your vessel drifts into the full moon harbor. Too high up to see faces or smell corpses, but you can see a dozen or so bodies, red uniforms and purple robes, gleaming bronze helmets shining in the morning light. The sight elicits some laughter and Carthaic shouting from the crew, and an old Partuvian rowing chant strikes up. There is no wind in the cliff-circled harbor for obvious reasons, but it was hard to begrudge one final push towards the docks with oars in hand. The message above might be morbid, but it's fairly unmistakable. "First free city of Partu," one of the oarsmen calls out to you, flashing a grin. "If we can hold it and keep the title. As willing, it won't be the last." As you...
Yes, yes. Very good.
I'm glad to see that that the resistance is actually getting somewhere.
It's, the first step. Couldn't quite manage it alone, but I've got family here. It was a proper brawl from what I understand. Brought in the, pirate fleets, brought in all the weapons and armor we could smuggle over the course of the past month. Took some doing, but with Imperial ships on lockdown, they were relatively easy to prey once we took out the harbor defenses. All we had to do was move in our own ships. You hear the chatter as you glide out onto the clear blue waters of the full moon harbor. You can see Scitha Ligan rise up around you on all sides. Colorful ribbons are strung between shaped stone buildings, and sprawling dockyards bristle with a motley fleet of vessels. Some, as the oarsman suggests, are clearly pirate ships. A few are of Imperial make, like the one you're riding in right now. Many are fishing boats or cargo vessels, but even of these you can see signs of armaments peeking out over railings, or indications of labor working to install them. Warm rain pours down eternally from on high, casting endless cascades of ripples across the harbor's surface.
This Crom takes in the sights of the harbor. This is the first time he's seen like a harbor like this. He's hasn't been really
Seaworthy.
Yeah, he hasn't really been seaworthy in this, so he's taking in the sights a bit, kind of making note of the architecture and how they built along the sea and the ramparts and stuff along the harbor. He's the site is quite impressive. This is I can see why they call this place impregnable. This is a sight to behold.
Someone,
Yeah, if only they could. If they had better crops, they might have been able to hold longer. But I assume that there's only so much to go around. I'm I'm glad we have this on our side now. A strong port will help us move out to the rest of the world once we go to conquer that.
We are
Conquer.
not conquering the world.
Liberating, sorry. We're going to liberate it.
Crom, you could give me an engineering or nature check to analyze sort of the architecture and the.
Let's see. There's no
Oh wait,
engineering.
there is
There
Would-
is. It's a large scale. Maker has it.
Lore. I only have guild lore.
Yeah, I'll say
Let's
nature
see.
is the most applicable for you then.
Yep. Nope.
Yeah, you're not sure quite how this land formation was formed. It's very terraced and kind of jagged. A lot of stone that seems to have had soil built up on it over time. You can see, however, there is what looks like a sizable river kind of pouring into the harbor at the north end. And your eyes are drawn to a sizable, what looks like a sluice gate, which seems to be like controlling the flow of water down into the harbor and probably taking a space where a waterfall would normally be to help ensure that the water above the sluice remains fresh and uncontaminated by the salt water of the ocean and the bay.
Oh, that's interesting.
That being said, you are in the docks now, and you've had a couple minutes to slowly debark and gather your things and step out. And there's a bit of a problem because you're not sure who exactly mentioned that you were here or who you were. But you have scarcely had a minute to get off the ship before your little group is just suddenly swarmed by people on all sides. Just the attention is far from equally divided. The lion's share of it is going to Bayleaf and Destisha, but there's a gaggle of sailors, townsfolk, a few militia members, tradesmen, and more who are just they meet your arrival with some cheers, and more pressingly, they seem to be aiming to pull you just every which way they can. Just hey, the heroes of Argade, Lady Valantis, so on and so forth. Just each of you, most of you, except for Maker, really, seem to be getting some recognition. But you can spot in the midst of this hubbub someone trying to worm his way through the crowd who actually has a reason to approach you. A mousy, bespectacled, imperial human man wearing a deep blue tunic with a metal flower pinned to its breast. Only Destisha likely recognizes him. It's Crispin. You talked to him back in Argade. And even then, it might take a moment. He's kind of a forgettable guy. The pin does mark him as a member of the Partu Liberation Brigade, though, and implies that unlike the general gaggle of people around you, he probably actually has, he's probably sent here to deal with you specifically.
Letitia is waving out to the throngs of people. Haha! Yes, I have arrived. Uh, four arms just waving in different directions, trying not to get pulled away. Finger guns with her third pair at some people.
Figure guns, the most honorable and affable gesture. It is something that Bailiff has been doing, so I assume it is a Partuvian gesture you have picked up.
Who do you think you learned it from?
There will have to be an argument over that later. Anyway, you do hear like a mumble, just please, everyone, the excitement is understandable, but these are members of the Partu Liberation Brigade. We should all be showing them proper Niscali hospitality, not shouting down their faces. He is getting absolutely no traction though, like trying to kind of nudge his way towards you.
Crom is going to wade himself over there, being his size. I'm guessing people would easily part for him.
They will. He is very big.
So he walks over to him and kind of like picks him up by the back of his shirt and just pulls him in closer. You all right there?
Oh yes. Oh my. Yes, of course. I was just sent by I was sent by Commander Neal, who wished for me to relay a message to the lot of you when you arrived. We were hoping you would arrive today, based on our previous communications, and he glances around at the crowd is starting to kind of like disperse now that you seem to have met with somebody and are no longer quite in the like arriving triumphantly stage of things, except Estisha, who is just like actively courting attention, so she's still surrounded by people.
Ah, yes. Hello. Yes, I will sign your baby.
Let's very good initiative, Lady Valantis. Regardless, we oh yes, you will be expected at Moonlight Springs, an hour past moonrise. It is to the north of the city, a small retreat near where the freshwater lake on the island pours down in a stream. Follow the river and head through one of the northern gates. You'll get there easily. It's neutral ground, you see. It's not quite a religious site nor a military one, and so the various factions thought it would make a good meeting ground for our first council under the moonlight. You'll probably be welcome, but essentially anywhere in the city. I urge you to make yourselves at home. You have all day, and you've already got quite an array of places to go, I imagine. Well, I hate to say this, but except for you, Lady Valantis, I would very much appreciate it if you could come with me. I apologize for the suddenness, but there was something that the commander wished for me to go over with you when you arrived.
What? I can't go shopping? There should be loads of cool stuff here,
we
right?
will be stopping by the market and a number of other places. We just, as you seem to be acclimating yourself quite well to being seen and heard, we wanted to make sure that the city had a chance to enjoy your visit and show you proper hospitality. You are quite the name, after all.
Of course. Of course. Yes, I think I will do that. I have to make sure that everyone knows that Volantilus is finally making a comeback. She's drinking in the attention a great deal.
All right then, with me, please. With me, we will get you presentable and tidied up and organized and prepared for everything you'll be doing over the next few days. Thank you. The rest of you, please enjoy this city. The people who actually live here could tell you much better than I what to what to expect, but I think you'll find it shockingly hospitable. I have, even if certain events have. Well, please don't be put off by the morbid welcoming. He tugs at his collar a little bit. Well, I'm quite glad that the commander gave me this pin. Well, as you were, yes. He beckons to Distisha and trots off, but you all do have the opportunity here to pursue your own directions. And there is a little something for each of you. So first off, sorry, I just realized that we never did the last time on. We totally forgot
Yeah,
this time.
I was thinking. I was going to point that out at the end of the session.
Okay, I'm
that
sorry. We
I-
forgot.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fine because I was like I said before we started, I forgot to write my script for that, and then I was just struggling to write it when the session began, and then you just skipped right past.
Whoops.
Thank you, and I was just sort of thankful.
Okay. Okay. Saved by the teacher forgetting to ask for your homework to be turned in. I'm sorry.
We have all been there.
We have all been there. Yes, it's one of the episodes of the opening theme. Only plays a few minutes in. Draken, do you want to do the last time on? Do you want to take a minute?
Oh no, I think we're not going to do that today.
Okay.
I didn't finish my
Last
script.
time
Watch the
on
VOD.
Shrouded Shore,
Hey,
the party agreed that they were not enemies.
They were going to stay a party.
Yes, they are not going to stab each other in their sleep. Very Entmoot. We have decided that you are not orcs. But which of you would like to step out first and have your little scenes first? Do we have any volunteers, or shall I roll a die?
I feel like it should be one of the twins, just so we don't have to listen to them talking one after the other.
That's hard.
Wow, rude.
Okay, but go ahead.
gosh.
Your voices are very similar.
Oh,
How could you say such a thing?
I mean, we're practically two different people.
Very nearly so. Anyway,
I vote Crom.
okay.
I can do it.
Let's
Let's go with
Crom.
Crom.
Let's go with alphabetical order.
He used my voice there. But yeah, I'll go first.
So, while you've received some attention, you do stand out, and more than a few people seem to have eyes, be they curious, admiring, amorous, or envious for the towering black-furred warrior in their midst. A lot of it follows away the more overt rebels in your group. There are sprawling smithies and crafting districts here. You can see the smoke rising from the southern wing of the city, and that is very likely where your attention is drawn. Partially because if you have been talking to Fang at all during this, they have been
I have.
Figured you are not putting them back in the bottom of your backpack again. Are you still? I believe you had them on an amulet or something like that,
Yeah,
basically fashioned the hilt into an amulet. You would have
Yeah.
had plenty of time to do that during the journey. But they have been kind of rambling on along about various kinds of weapons. They could be the pros and cons. They actually do seem to know a fair bit about, armaments, perhaps unsurprisingly. But they're not settled on anything, and they keep defaulting back to wanting you to make some kind of decision. You're
I do.
sorry.
I do have an idea.
Oh, yeah. You are able to find your way up to the Artisan's Alley. It is a slightly roundabout journey. You have to take a few. There's a lot of stairs in this town, to put it mildly. It's very vertical, and sometimes just going straight in a line towards something will lead you to like a wall or a cliff face rather than to the thing you're going for. But you're able to navigate your way without too much difficulty and without wasting too much time. There are jewelers, tanners, carpenters, tinkers, and yes, smiths. You're surrounded by a comforting, nostalgic clamor of ringing metals, wood saws, and hammers against nails and ingots alike. Periodically, there will be a noisy hiss of steam as fresh water is poured to cool some cannon barrel or machine part, emerging dull red and glowing from a cast. A lot of them seem to be hard at work melting down imperial breastplates to make spears, swords, bullets, and arrowheads, where the metal can be put to much more efficient use by Partu's lightly armored fighters. You see a few unfortunate souls armed with short knives and scrapers, busily peeling plating off deactivated thralls. It's a good source of material, but the task is undeniably grisly. Fang is just kind of awestruck at the industry.
Crom takes a moment and closes his eyes and takes in a deep breath. The sound of metal hitting metal brings him back to the memories of his own snow-covered forge where he's building another dagger to give to a friend, and the heat of the forge on his face as he's bent over his anvil. It's the nostalgia hits him hard for the 2 months he's been away from his workshop.
It's been almost 4 for him, because he had to be captured, transported from the north, brought south. It's been 2 months since Argade, and you were captured weeks and weeks before that even. So it's been like a full season since you're back home. Snow is probably having that one period of time this year where the snow actually melts properly and the mountains are green. It doesn't last long. Not every year has it, but you have the feeling that this is one of the years where it will. There's no snow here, just warm rain. Still, the sense of the heat hitting you like that just
lingers.
This place is familiar. Fang just kind of mutters in the back of your mind.
Familiar.
I don't know. I was probably just made somewhere like this, right? I mean, I don't really remember being made, but like, you wouldn't remember where you were made either, right? But, well, I mean, not made, born. That's, yeah.
I think that's similar enough for you. You have actual thought and feelings. Being made and being born for you are practically the same, I would say.
Maybe. There's a lot of weapons here. Wow, those are cannons. Being a cannon would be cool. Probably impractical though.
Bit hard to carry around, yes.
I probably wouldn't get to move very much. Hey, I've been wondering if you were a weapon, what kind of weapon would you be? Like, if you could pick. I mean, just wondering.
Hmm. Hey, that's a bit of a hard choice. If I he kind of rubs his chin as he looks over a, another a workshop that they're standing in, watching the sparks fall to the floor. I would say I person I personally enjoy. Nah, I'd probably be some sort of longsword. It's dependable, easy to maintain, large, somewhat large. Either that or some form of hammer. I am a smith after all.
That 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 makes sense. It are those aren't the kind of weapons you usually use, though, right? Like you use the big weapons.
Yeah, I've never been much for using um the more mun- mundane short swords and such. If I'm as big as I am, might as well put that bulk to good use.
That
I'm I actually used to have a hunting axe that I used a lot for taking out some of the uh, Gaziran mountain bears. That was always a fun thing to do.
hunting axe.
Sometimes they,
Uh,
it's it's generally it's just a battle axe, but you use it on really large armored wildlife.
oh, that sounds.
Probably probably more grisly to use on someone smaller, and I don't know if it would be actual that great in in one-on-one combat just due to the size of it. You'd normally have to get the thing wrapped and just deliver the blow in one shot.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Um, wow. So something big. Yeah. Uh, man, what about like? Oh, what if you had like two weapons, but there was like. I wonder if I could be two weapons if there was like a chain between them. No, that's stupid. Never. No, sorry. Never mind. Um,
Oh, this
what about? No, no. You pick. You pick. I want to be useful.
you want to be a pair of sword chucks
No,
then?
that's stupid. Don't, please.
I'll keep that in
No,
mind.
it was just an
Sword
idea.
chucks.
I, oh no.
If Kron just chuckles at himself, chuckles to himself, and continues his window shopping. But I have a plan for you, though. It's I've never worked with a sentient weapon before, but I'm pretty sure I could come up with something that you'd be proud of. Though I'm kind of holding out till I can find some form of material special material. I don't want to just give you any old iron sword. I really wish I could have gotten my hands on some of that orichalcum.
Oh, that sounds like a lot. I mean, I'm just saying, I'd rather be bronze or iron for now than just to be a weapon hilt. Feels kinda useless. I mean, better to have swords for legs than no legs, right? Why? I mean, no offense. Obviously, why
If
does that lady have swords for legs?
uh, um she didn't have any legs to begin with, and then we came across two very very nice blades, and she decided why not.
Oh, she must really like swords. Um, I guess.
I think it's more of a statement than any desire for blade, any sorry, any enjoyment for the blade. In fact, I don't uh I don't even know if she actually practiced the blade at all. She seems to more use the thing as a reactive beat stick than a actual weapon. The way she constantly makes things explode off of it.
Oh,
The voice of Justicia echoes in your head. Crom, where's my threaded rapier? Crom, where's my threaded rapier?
Choosing to ignore that.
Crom did know a guy back at his enclave in his clan who did once get very, very drunk and make a pair of sword chucks. It it was just two swords with a chain between them. He just broke the chain and he had two swords. They were perfectly fine afterwards. You made fun of him for it about it for years. He did use them in like one fight though. Almost chopped his hand off. Not a very good weapon, to be honest. But
What if the chain were longer?
then you'd just have two swords. Like that's it. There would just be two swords at that point, with a chain between them.
I mean, then you could throw one of the swords and then pull it back.
That's a Kurisigama,
Yes, that's
but with two swords.
I think you mean Kusarigama?
Sorry, is it pronounced Kusarigama?
I mean, it's written that
yeah.
way.
It's
Huh.
pronounced the way it's in
That's
its phonetic language.
yeah.
Yes.
That's just mine Cross's ability to not sound phonetic words at all
As
properly.
you do.
Yeah, that's just an American thing.
How dare you?
Excuse me. I'm not the one whose language decides to mango all the letters.
Hey, that's not an American trait. That's just our trait. Darn it. Wait,
No,
no.
it is in fact an American trait. You're just victims of
Never
our
mind.
terrible, terrible language. But as you're kind of thinking, looking over these weapons, you do notice there is definitely a predilection towards like lighter stuff in part two. You see a lot of like hand axes, a lot of spears, a lot of like short swords and pole arms. Like most two-handed weapons appear to be pole arms here. Glaives are popular.
Yeah, none of this is going to work for me. I wonder if I can borrow someone's forge.
You almost certainly can. Like even here, you are getting like lightly recognized. People are noticing you. They like you're hard to miss, right? And while you're not getting like mobbed, people are giving you like nods and like, "Oh, good day, welcome to the city," and blah blah blah. You can almost certainly just settle in somewhere and ask for permission to make use of some of the equipment.
Crumb's going to do that. He's going to look for like a one of the larger workshops and kind of make himself known walking in and would there be a front desk or something?
There's going to be like
Like
a guild order desk, like a place for orders to be managed of like it's not really like a proper guild so much as like it's a management desk. It's for keeping track of who's using what forge, what's on order, what is needed to come out of here. What materials are getting used on what. Like it seems to be basically being operated by the rebels at this point of we need these weapons, we need this armor, we need these tools. But if you just like say it's for the rebellion and you have something specific you need to craft, they will like scribble you in on a location, bump someone else back, and get you a seat at one of the work areas.
he's going to walk up to the desk and ask if he can get a spot.
Yeah. What will you be crafting precisely? There's like a.
I will be crafting a weapon if I could.
What supplies will you be needing? Scribble, 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 scratch, scratch.
I would take some iron, some do you have any more unique materials like cold iron or such?
We don't have much metal at this point. I apologize. We do have some iron, not much of it. Most of what we've got is honestly bronze. We're smelting down equipment as we scavenge it, but well, we never really had much to begin with here. Unless you're looking for something made of bronze, iron, or I suppose we have precious metals, gold and silver.
I'll just take the iron.
Of course, we will. Yes, I believe I can divert. Yes, not much of it, I assume. Just a single weapon, personal use.
First, and maybe I could take some silver for some decoration.
Silver, as you have it. Yes, I believe we have some confiscated silver from the Imperial settlement. And all right, you expect to be using this for most of the day, I am guessing?
Yes.
Of course. And name. I believe I recognize you are Cromgrim?
Indeed, I am.
I was not aware. I'd heard your name, but I was not aware you were a craftsman yourself. Welcome to the smithy, regardless. If you need anything, please let myself or the Forge Master know. Forge Master Soka, he points across the room. There, spider folk. She may look a bit spindly, but she knows her way around a hammer. If you need any help, ask her. Otherwise, I will be here managing resources. Good day, Sir Crom.
Good day to you too.
He's already like nose deep in his ledger again, probably trying to shuffle our stuff around to account for the iron you just took, but you've got what you need. It's set up with like a smithy, an anvil, workbench, all the tools you could desire.
Okay. So he's going to take out his own sterling tools, equipped his crafting monocle, and start working.
So, what are you making? Not sword checks, I hope.
Well, there's a special, a certain type of weapon up in Gozira. He quietly talks to Fang as he gets the material and starts working the bellows to start melting it down. It's somewhat of a signature weapon of my clan. It's was used by some of the grand masters of Clan Grim. A weapon. It's a blade, a long one. More could be even called like a sword staff. He takes some metal and starts pouring it into a cast. Man, used to it was they were crafted somewhat like grabbing a lightning bolt out of the sky. They were said to cut cut clouds out of the air, crackle with the crackle whenever a storm began to brew, and were as graceful as the first drops of rain. They, for that reason, they were often called storm cutters. And the technique, was passed down from master to master down through the line. He begins to hammer away at the hot iron, folding it and then smacking it again. But it's not be perfect. I'm not going to have the same kind of Gosiren materials, but I can make a reasonable facsimile.
Your clan isn't gonna be like upset, is it? I mean, if you're just like, I mean, I'm not. If it's that important of a weapon, I mean, I'm not really associated with it.
It's the fact that I can create a living, thinking storm cutter, they would probably be ecstatic.
Oh,
Then again, it's not going to be a true storm cutter. It's just going to be a facsimile at the moment until I get the proper materials to build one. But I can. I'll still make it a nice home for you. No worry about that.
I see. I'm I'm looking forward to seeing. Oh, that's a lot of metal. That is a lot of metal. Bane kind of trails off, just watching you work, periodically asking a question, but you're able to settle in and get to work with one of the forges as the morning passes away into the afternoon.
Crom starts humming a Gozairan's smithing song and timing it with his hammer strikes as he continues to mindfully work on the blade.
As you are doing that, Maker, you, as Crom is heading away and Estisha is getting dragged away, you have been almost entirely ignored by the crowds. Almost, but
Thankfully.
not entirely, which makes the fact that you've been slipped something all the more easy to notice. A slip of paper with a local address on the northeastern side of the city in plain Lakmaran script. There's no cipher and no real attempt at secrecy being made, just discretion. This is an espionage, but whoever gave you this probably doesn't want you trailing a crowd. Fortunately, that doesn't seem like it's going to be a problem.
The Maker is just going to silently head that way. Whee.
Wee. Just skips through the city.
Let's just ride the lobster.
Ride the lobster. What an unusual saying. But you make your way through the city unaccosted, winding to a small unmarked structure with a sturdy wooden door. From the outside, it is unremarkable to most people. But for you, there is a comforting thrum tangible from the moment you lay a hand against the wood. Akkadic energy flows here. It has been readied and inscribed, not just a few trinkets lying about, but an entire structure etched to conduct power properly to every apparatus within. You haven't felt a door like this, a door connected to the rest of a building in a living network of etchings and wires, since you left home. It takes a week of work to prepare even a small building like this in this manner, and covert installations rarely risked it. But it's just a door. The people are inside. There is music playing. That is the first thing you notice when you push it open. Just a small nudge sends the door opening largely on its own. There's loud passages and quiet ones echoing each other, the faint rattle of strings, repeated ornaments and patterns that iterate, reiterate, escalate, complete, then fall away slowly. Lakmaran music flowed like a river and was rarely heard outside the city itself. It washes over you like a warm blanket as soon as you open the door. But the second thing you notice is substantially more immediate and physical. You are pulled into a tight embrace with a clanking of metal as another automaton, an adamant pattern, a full head taller than you with broad shoulders and a low, domed head from which a solitary pale red eye unit beams cheerfully. Maker, my friend! I had heard you had survived the raids on the Nixian outposts, and here you are putting our agents to shame. This you recognize. This is Hammer, an old friend from training of the same production generation, though a model that genuinely prefers to pursue labor and construction in Lakmara. Despite that, Hammer himself is a sapper, superb at what he does in both senses of the term, capable of putting up quick constructions or tearing them down. You haven't had the chance to really work together since graduation, but for an automaton, those years of study and self-determination have as foundational importance as the childhood of any biological being. Are you all right? You look like you've been through a forge grinder. Is your chassis even in one piece? Good God.
I have been thrown into the ground twice by a giant bee. I have been torched by a giant Cerberus frog. I have been attacked by mites. I want to burn this island to the ground.
Oh, you and all the rest of us. Come inside, come inside. There's music, there's cards. Yeah, it's a little bit of home away from home. Come in, come in. He beckons you in and sort of gestures around the room. You see aquatic lights in the ceiling and some tables set up where it looks like there is a card game in progress. Halfway in progress. It seems that Hammer was one of the people playing. But there are a few other things around the room, little gadgets, recording instruments, a writing tablet. There's a machine for etching the alchemical discs that Maker likes to use. And there's a couple other automata here. You see a Quicksilver automaton, seems to be the one who's actually playing the music, plucking away at a string instrument. Just like all their kind, a inscrutable mirror sheen where the face would be, and a viscous, almost fluid body currently wrapped in a pale white robe. The last individual in the room appears to be a mithril automaton, slightly shorter than Maker, gleaming silver blue plating, even more reminiscent of armor than yours is, with a blue eye darting back and forth as they attempt to tinker with some device that's on the table. I'm just glad to see you alive, friend. It's when the Nixian outpost got raided, I was certain you were gone. There aren't usually survivors from those things. I suppose they took you as a prisoner, but to see you end up all the way here, halfway around the world.
They stuffed me in a box and were sending me towards the Frau production facility, probably for disassembly and research. They left some of my parts behind. It took Maker points at the lobster. It took it almost 3 weeks. It took it almost a week after we got free for it to reach me again. It was an incredibly aggrieving time. And the crab. I was almost dragged away by a crab immediately after I got free from the box after the wreckage.
No one here.
I don't know how to explain how awful these past few months have been.
No one here knows how to make a good auto carriage. I expect they'd get stuck in the mud anyway. No decent stone roads anywhere. Say what you will about the Empire, at least they managed to make roads. It's all mud here. Or boats.
I don't even mind the roads that much. If I'm be honest, you're just I'm thankful that I decided on a multi-legged undercarriage. The crabs are very nice as a transportation. We have been with my new group has been running with one.
I see.
Wonderful beast.
Practical, certainly. I can see why they're used as a template for some of our cargo devices back home. But introductions. Everyone, this is Maker. Here, the fine fellow with the instrument, that's Folly. The Quicksilver automaton raises a hand. We've met. that was me back on the boat. I have thankfully no reason to disguise myself in this particular location. The ruse was dropped with the pirates some week or so ago. Thankfully, I'm glad to no longer have to pretend. It was irksome to pretend to be one of them unwashed sorts. Well,
I personally have been pretending to be just one of those mindless things the Imperials build. It's convenient. I don't like to talk to them regardless.
convenient maybe. Tad insulting, though. Without a guise up, I have difficulty getting the locals to differentiate me from a slab of rock. Barbarous sorts. I cannot be free of this place soon enough. Anyhow, Hammer just shakes his head, which on his particular model is more kind of like a pivot back and forth of a domed visor than it is like an actual movement of a neck. And, well, the young lady over there, that is Vox. Just recently arrived. She has been setting up this listening post with us. Vox, say hello. Hello. She, glances your way, shrugs, goes back to messing with the device. Not exactly.
Speaking.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to comment on this place. It is very overt.
Surprisingly, yes, we have been given permission to set up a... I hesitate to use the term embassy, but a listening post, a communication point with, Mara proper. For the moment, the rebels here see us as largely aligned with them. Truth be told, we essentially are. Their endeavor can only really do good for us.
Agreed.
Folly raises a hand and nods again. You know, the way the First Order sees it, we can, well, I'm sorry, Draken. It just occurred to me that the naming scheme you came up with sounds like I'm talking about goddamn Star Wars when I talk about the upper echelon of your city. I hate it.
It came to my mind when you said the First Order.
This is the first time I've said them out loud. It's like, oh, that's just the term Draken came up with. No way. I need a better way to...
Just refer to the gods. Say the leadership. I don't know. The
leadership.
The
council?
priests. The priests. I don't know. Yeah, say high command. That's better.
Oh God. The slow encroachment of all language by copyrighted terms. Anyway. Okay, I'm sorry. They just completely ripped me out of my train of thought mid-sentence. As far as High Command is concerned, this goes one of two ways. If this rebellion somehow pulls off a minor miracle and manages to secure Partu for itself, then we deny the Eridon a source of valuable raw materials and manpower. In the much more likely event that it simply becomes a grinding and interminable conflict, then we draw Imperial attention away from the mainland for an indefinite period of time, freeing up our own operatives to work far more freely with far less scrutiny and offering far more points of attack. Neither outcome is really bad. It's not as if Bartu, this backwater, has any real status as a threat to us. But, to not to cut our mutual friends gushing short, and I will will allow you to, well, what was it you wanted to do, Hammer? You were talking about no one here wants to play cards with you. No one wants to play cards with me, except for Miss Vox, and she keeps just ignoring her hand every time she needs to fiddle with a device. It's... yeah, well, I've been wanting to play a hand. It's not every day you get an opportunity to just sit around and relax in the field. Well, our unmotivated friend aside, I would like a brief report first. I expect we'll be relaying some of this to command, assuming we can actually get a connection through. But what did you actually find? You said you were going into the heart of the parasite's impact site to begin with. We haven't had any of our agents survive that task before.
I have already mentioned the reason for that. One of the, we assume, an Erudani senator left a Cerberus type war throw in the site of Nez's tomb. It was a complicated affair to fell the beast. It almost killed us.
Fascinating. There was something there to guard, then? Not just a cusk, I take it.
At the site of the tomb, we found a message from the Valentilus group.
Fascinating.
That basically, how can I say, a last will. They fought to protect the entity, but failed, obviously. We also recovered the wreckage of the weapon used to slay the thing. It is not usable at present, I'd say.
Unfortunate. I can't say I would have expected them to leave it there if it was, but...
I also assume simply guarding the body was of some value. We attempted to carve out pieces of it. It was not possible. And the whole area was... How do I explain? There was a high volume of mana in the surroundings, enough to produce runecraft with exceeding ease. And the noises. I assume when Nazis was destroyed, it released a surge of souls into the surroundings, and the things are simply making noise in the whole area. It is disconcerting and honestly quite horrid, yes.
I can imagine.
Yes, it's worse than an area infested with elementals.
I still chuckle thinking at your trickery down south. You know, we've been getting intermittent reports, and apparently they're still struggling to make any progress cleaning that up.
Oh, it was rather inspired, I'd say.
Brilliant. In fact, I have honestly put forward a recommendation to, in your favor for High Command whenever we meet with them. How is the signal anyway, Vox? It's weak. We're homing in on it. We are broadcasting. We will need to be picked up on the other end, though. This is a covert line, theoretically. We don't want the Imperials listening in on this particular conversation. But for now, all we can really do is wait. With any luck, they should pick us up. Well, if we've got nothing to do but wait, feel a large metal hand clap you on the back. What do you say we get you and your construct repaired up, enjoy some music, and just relax for a bit? You look like you could use it.
I most certainly could.
You settle in for an afternoon of cards. There's art supplies if you wish to use them. Nearly every automaton has some kind of artistic hobby, whether it's music or drawing or sculpture or something. It's part of your basic school curriculum, and many people keep it into adulthood. It's something to do with your time. But as all that fades into your work and your waiting, I think we can pivot to Scitha, the first to get dragged away from the dock site, and the one who is dragged the shortest distance. This way, please. You are brought to what looks like some kind of, not quite a tailor, not quite a artist's guild, some kind of print works. There's a lot of papers being shuffled around. There's a lot of cloth. You see vats of dye being prepared. Lots and lots of sea green dye. It seems to be being made in bulk, and a lot of uniforms and what have you are being the imperial colors are being removed from cloth or just put into various pieces of everyday wear. It looks like uniforms are being made out of everyday clothes, essentially. But there's also just enormous sheaves of cloth that you're not sure what they're doing with them, but they're quite colorful, and it seems like there's a few big projects here. Lady Valantis, your guide continues to trot along, basically shepherding you in the right direction. Thank you for cooperating. This is we're going to get you nice and presentable, but do you mind if we run through a few questions as we tidy you up?
Presentable? How am I not presentable already?
You know, just dealing with the wear and tear of the road, or the ship, as it were. You want to be looking your absolute best. Back here, back room. He kind of pulls you into a side room. We're going to need someone find. We're going to need the tailors, the fitters. We are going to need some perfume, some soap. We're going to need what else? Oh yes, ribbons and question. How do you feel about fish or fruit? Do you have one you prefer? Both are associated with Nexus, but it would do you good for some.
I prefer fruit.
Yes. Okay. Excellent. How do you feel about dresses, robes? You seem to have a fencer's weapon. Do you prefer trousers?
As long as it's flowy and easy to wear, dresses are pretty nice. As long as they have enough distance from these.
She taps her feet on the ground.
Right. Dresses no longer than a medium cut. All right. pardon if this is personal, but do you have a partner romantically? It does matter regarding the what pattern we braid your hair in.
No.
Okay, good, noted. Oh yes, that's it. Stylist, hairstylist. We need one of those. He's like shouting out the door, and a few people are like filtering in. Do you know your measurements off the top of your? You know what? We'll just go ahead and take them to be sure. Want to make sure we're being properly flattering. Your sense of balance—it's remarkable. Can you dance?
Yes.
We are planning a festival. It will be good to know if we can
Oh.
expect you to lead any of the festivities.
Oh.
This will be tomorrow, by the way. Your schedule is going to be very full for the next.
I have a schedule?
Yes, Look, I'm sorry, Lady Volantilus. This is important. Allow me to take a moment to explain, because I have found myself. You know my story. I told you the first time we met. I was only intending to be here for the purpose of documenting and recording. Somehow, well, you know that the pictograph I took of you. It
Yes.
it has become quite popular. It turns out that you are a very strong motivating force, and you know, while I'm not entirely certain that Commander Neal is entirely on board with the whole, the pomp and circumstances of Volantilus, it is a story that makes for an excellent morale boost to people who need it very badly. So, what we're going to be doing the next few days while you're in town here is taking you, Lady Volantilus, and ensuring that you have as many opportunities as possible to rally the spirits and kindle the hopes of people who honestly just have been dealing with some victories, yes, but painful victories. We've had losses and casualties, and it would do everyone good to see a folk hero like yourself in the flesh, participating in their traditions, giving them encouragement, all that stuff. You understand?
Oh,
You understand,
I have to
right?
I have to make people feel better?
Yes, that's what you're here for.
Oh no. I'll try.
Again, you can dance, yes? In the festival?
Yes.
All right. Do you know any illusion cantrips?
Yes. Maybe.
what-
I need to check my book.
I
She
don't
takes-
think illusion cantrips exist.
Well, here, look, you know how to use a staff, yes?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and give you. We've got this prepared. Where was it?
She's flipping through her
Bring
book.
Oh, I did. That one's good.
Bring the performance staff as well. Someone grab that, please. Thank you. Do not ask me how I ended up in charge of public relations. Very strange position.
How did you end up in
I
public
don't
relations?
know. I took a few photographs that turned out to be very good. And here's the thing about Commander Neal. He rewards success in the sense that you start doing well, and he will expect you to keep doing well. And I don't know. I just don't have it in my heart to disappoint the man. Anyway, okay. Yes. Anyway, this staff. He takes something out of the hand of an aide. While he's talking, there are some assistants who are breaking out measuring tape and starting to like take your measurements: height, waist, bust, hips, percentage of your leg that is soared, that kind of thing. They don't really seem sure what to make of that measurement, but it feels relevant to grab. Yes, the staff conjures harmless bursts of flower petal, water, sparkles, flames. It should delight some of the children. Goddess knows they need some levity after what's been happening in the streets the last few weeks.
Oh, water staff. I got one of those.
Are you familiar with Partuvian funeral rites? Funerary rites.
No.
No burials, too many roots. There's a cremation, and the ashes are taken into the forest to nurture a young tree. This book should cover what you need to know. Here, take this. I advise you start reading.
They turn bodies into fertilizer here?
Yes, It's strange to me too,
Weird.
but it's as it was explained to me, it is actually a charming tradition, but it is a combination of a difficulty digging and, well, a return of one's essence to nature, which one has taken so much from.
Huh.
It's
You think
cyclical.
they get more use out of the bones and muscle? But I guess they don't use fleshcraft as much around here, do they?
As I can see, it's fairly taboo, yes. But
Okay. We'll just not talk about
yes,
that one then.
I would recommend that. Thank you.
Don't blame me if I do. I'm a master of it.
Do your best.
That was
Yes,
a
thank
joke.
you. Anyway, that's tomorrow evening. I recommend you start reading at chapter 2 and at least hit 2, 3, and 4.
I have homework?
Yes. Yes, but this is all very condensed. I'm thankfully glad you arrived in the morning. This would have been all difficult to arrange if you'd arrived much later in the day before the council meeting. We do want you presentable for the council meeting as well. But
Is the boat still here? Can I still get back on it?
unfortunately, it is here, but
That was another joke.
thank you. You're making me very nervous, Lady Valantilus. Smile a moment while you get ready. This should be a nice familiar shot. He takes out the camera again.
Let me.
And tilts it.
Okay. She stretches her jaw. Let me remember what the old academy face. Smile. No, not like that. Like this. Think about happy thoughts. Happy thoughts. There we go. She smiles.
Click. All right, and another pose. Click, and he cheerfully rambles on as the various stylists start to filter in and fiddle with Distish's hair and lay out some various outfits. Pardon, what were you saying?
What? No, I was just twirling.
Okay. He, there's a lot of fussing, a lot of color, a lot of arguments over what color exactly your outfit should be. It ends up with some Niscali hues in it, but hasn't banished all of its blue.
It starts reminding her a bit of her mother at this point.
But you are being put through more general like pomp and fuss and circumstance than you have been since being captured and thrown in a prison wagon. It's perhaps reminiscent of home in some ways. Though there's a lot less sense that someone's going to try to stab you if you smile wrong here. It's
I've noticed a distinct lack of metal.
There's
Sharp metal.
except the stuff on your legs. But
I don't call that lacking.
yep. But there is quite a bit of preparation going on. And while it is going on, as morning shifts into afternoon, Crom, you've had good few hours now to settle the basic structure of a new weapon. Your storm cutter is taking shape. It's not quite honed yet, but it's the blade is ready. It is in the proper shape. It has been hammered and purified and folded and refined and all that good stuff. And you're running into the part where the question rises. You're not actually sure how you're supposed to put Fang in this weapon. like there's not like an obvious way other than incorporating the handle, which is like a bit of broken hilt that doesn't really fit easily into any other weapon design. So, is that ready, more or less?
What? I just need to figure out a way to actually attach you to the blade.
That's I can do that. That's easy, I think. Maybe just put me next to it, like touching it.
Oh, all right. He's going to unsnap Fang uh, from the necklace and just put it on the end of the blade where the hilt should be.
There is a moment. I'm sorry, I made the mistake of reading Cross's contribution to chat. Cross, would you like to share your note with the class?
I can explode a bunch of blood from my body. That's a neat trick.
You know, with the right kids, it probably would be. But you hear Bang mumble something to herself. She seems to be trying to focus. And then they go silent for a moment. And you are actually not entirely sure where they are. And then... Oh, wow, this feels very different. I'm very intact. This is new. I mean mostly intact. I'm not sharp yet. Oh, this is interesting.
Did you manage to? Did you manage to transfer?
Mostly. I think I'm kind of more. I mean, it's more that I'm like possessing it than, you know, being it. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? Like,
I can understand that.
I don't really know. I know I can be something more solidly than this. I I don't know how much I can do, but I can at least kind of feel the body. It's something, right?
That that does make it easier. I don't have to actually incorporate your original hilt into the design then.
Oh no, that's just leather and wood. Yeah, that's not me. I'm the weapon. I'm not any part of the weapon. I don't know if that makes sense. But I I don't know how to explain it.
We'll find I'll find it out as we go along. He uh, picks up picks up the blade and looks down its edge, checking it for imperfections and stuff. So, how do you feel? Properly weighted, such?
Long. I feel long. This is I don't know if I've been in a weapon like this before. This is definitely I mean I guess I'm not as long as like a spear or something, but it's a lot of
Wait
metal.
till wait till I attach the hilt. You should be about that size.
Oh wow. I definitely feel like I could chop something in half though, or like hit it really hard. I'm not quite sharp yet. I know you're gonna do that. Oh, being sharpened is going to be nice. Yeah. Yeah, I think I like this. I guess you can't really like swing me around, can you?
I mean, let's see. He stands up and looks around. What's the space around
You've
him?
got a bit of free space. You could like take your weapon out into like the street or into like a side alley or something to
Into the street with all the people and starts swinging.
There's an orphanage nearby. That's probably safe.
It
I
is a
mean,
blunt
there
piece
should
of
be a
metal.
place.
Yeah, it won't hurt any children if I swung it.
It would just go over their heads. It's too high up. Crom can't fight children. Their hitboxes are too low. He's it's like everyone is odd job to Crom. It's terrible. That's why he doesn't use ranged weapons.
He's large, but he doesn't have the extended reach, so he can barely reach his feet.
Well, no, your reach extends from all parts of your body. It's
Okay,
something that I've
so-
always found funny in D&D is you do actually have reach if you're like floating or something. You do have reach 5 feet down, which is something.
Just
He's
do
just doing a
just
flip.
spin. Flying spin.
So Crom is actually going to get up and go outside to a clear space to just test the weight out.
There actually is like a testing yard here. Like out in front there is like a set of like I say dummies, but like they're mostly just like logs set up to be whacked with like blunt weapons just to test that like the weighting on them is proper.
So Crom's going to motion to as if Fang was sheath, and then pull them out with a swing to feel how that works.
Make a attack roll. Just attack a log, basically. A nice and balanced swing. Perfect for testing. The motion goes smoothly. It is, as you might expect, a cleanly weighted weapon. Not quite done yet, but you feel a few like balance imperfections. It's a little heavy towards the like end of the sword. It's been a while since you had a chance to make a storm cutter like this, and it's a pretty common problem that if you're not very careful, just a little bit of extra material towards the end of the sword, the sheer like leverage of it can really throw it off. So you're gonna want to even that out a bit, but for the most part, it feels like a functional weapon, or close to complete weapon. Whoa, wow. Can you do that again? That felt very whoosh.
All right. He strikes a stance and then does a couple more swings.
Whoosh, whoosh. Sweet. Cool. Oh, this is cool. I'm cool. You're cool. Yeah. This is a very I like storm cutters. I'm a storm cutter now. I don't know. I still don't know 100% what I was before, but I'm glad to be this now. I think.
Okay, let's try a couple more techniques. See if how your durability lasts, and then I'll put on the finishing touches.
As you are swinging and kind of muttering to a sword in your hands, you do seem to draw the attention of the forge master, who walks by and kind of leans on the fencing around this little practice area, and just kind of the spider folk woman just clicks her mandibles a couple times. Just interesting. I've never seen a weapon like that before. What is it exactly? Some kind of greatsword?
Crom does one last swing and then puts puts it along the side of his hip as if sheathed. It's like a siren weapon. I'm from the north.
I see. I think most of our fighters would fall over if you gave them something like that. But, hopefully our facilities have proven sufficient for crafting it.
Oh yes, it's actually been a while since I've been into a properly stocked forge such as this. It really makes me homesick.
Part 2 doesn't have much metal. A lot of it is imported from the mainland. A fair bit of it passes through here. I obviously doubt that's going to continue to be the case. I'm just hoping that the rebels that we've sided with are able to divert enough raw materials back here to keep the smithies running. Otherwise, we'll all be out of work.
Where there's a will, there's a way. I think we'll be part 2 will be able to last for a while.
There's a will, there's a way, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there's an ore deposit.
That's true.
It's not as if we have a mining town on the continent anymore. I mean, I'm not going to cry any tears over that industry being cast down, but, well, it was our only real deposit. Regardless.
Sorry about that.
No. It's for the best, I expect. But, well, Scitha gone. I'm glad to not be making weapons for the Imperials anymore. I'll just say that. Hopefully I'll be making weapons at all. If Nessus is very kind, I won't have to make weapons forever. But until then, she nods. Good luck finishing up your weapon.
Thank you. I don't think I've gotten your name.
Sorka. No
So-
family name of note. It's a pleasure.
Grim, Crom Grim, though I expect you already know that.
I've heard it floating around. I had mixed feelings on the supposed heroes of the mainland, but knowing one of them knows his way around actually making something, I think I find that encouraging. Have a good day. So she nods and heads back to the rest of her work.
Crom nods back and turns to Fang. Well, let's get you finished up. I still want to get some polish on you and sharpen this edge. Then I can start putting in some silver inlays on you.
Oh, silver. Can you put there's gonna be a hilt, right? With wrappings and stuff?
Yes.
Are you what color are you gonna use? Are you gonna use black and silver, like the darkness of the night? That'd be cool, right? Or no, no, that's lame. Sorry. You do what you do the colors you want. I mean, black would match you though. That's something, right?
I think adding some black and
Yes.
we can add maybe some watercolors, some water themings for like storm clouds. So reminiscent of that.
Oh, like etchings. Oh, those are cool. Right. Bang just kind of babbles excitedly as you take them back to your workstation and prepare.
I'm glad my sword daughter is happy.
Your sword daughter is
You should
very
not.
happy.
You should not encourage. You should not encourage this type of behavior.
It's what, the sword or to Ameline?
The sword.
Meanwhile, I mean, what behavior do you not want to encourage from me? Putting adorable characters for you to take care of, because you won't stop me. I cannot be stopped.
Put an adoption target.
That's inevitable.
Anyhow, while Crom is making his sword daughter happy, Maker, you've spent a few hours getting actual maintenance done. Because, like, there is a limit to what can be done with, like, self maintenance. You can fix battle damage, but, like, it just kind of builds up this feeling of, like, jank, like, parts hitch, things scrape where they're not supposed to. Like, proper refitting means disassembling your various parts and like actually attaching them again, and you cannot really disassemble yourself safely. You need a second automaton at the very least. Pretty much everyone knows how to do it, but at least everyone in Lakmara knows how to do it. But you and your construct have both been polished up and hammered into a better shape. When, at last, there's like an excitable, like, we have a signal. We have a signal from Vox, who is like tapping away excitedly at the communication box. Just a moment. Maker, over here. Yes, Maker, right. We have a patch through to command. I have sent the underlying message. We should get someone we can communicate with in a few moments. She mumbles and kind of like nudges the microphone towards Maker as you're seated at the main table, probably either enjoying a hand of cards or engaged in some creative activity.
Maker would probably have been writing. That's what he enjoys doing.
There's actually some proper tablets to like save what you've written. There's like a crackle from the speaker. And then a deep, kind of booming voice makes its way through. Field team, we read you, this is Lakmara. I am Vigil, First Order Overseer. That is very unusual to have like a call like this intercepted by like a actual member of the leadership.
That was a very unusual voice to hear from you.
Hey,
That is,
I can pitch down.
yeah, it was just very unexpected. It's not one of the voices you usually make, I'd say.
I got slightly confused for a moment too, but
Anyway, back to character. Greetings. I copy you.
I am speaking to Maker, Fourth Order Engineer, as I understand it.
Fourth Order Engineer, Rough Militant Maker, correct.
Excellent. I have received loose reports on your activities up to this point, and I must offer commendation. However, for the moment, I must ask in detail and in full, what has your mission into the center of the Partuvian continent yielded? I was informed that you had gathered some message, sort of last testament from the one of the previous groups that studied the.
Ja do.
Sorry, I did not hear what you said.
No, sorry about that. I had to talk to
No
someone
worries.
in my room. Yeah, and then I just multi-clicked my mute and deafen button.
Oops.
But I don't think I. Okay, sorry. Okay, report. Very well. First things first, for the testament of Clan Valentilus. The message included primarily a request that whoever found it would continue the fight. They also spoke about their interactions with Nessus, primarily indicating that the entity, while dangerous, wishes to communicate, but is barely capable of doing so, and wanted to achieve some form of union with the locals. I have explained my position to the group I'm traveling with, that the gods appear, in my humble opinion, the gods appear to act mostly as pirates, but Nessus appears to me to be some manner of was some manner of farmer, is how I would best describe it. I don't know how. Well, they wished to interact more with it, and those attempts were cut short by the Empire.
I see.
For the
Your conjecture is noted and taken under consideration. However, the higher orders will discern for ourselves what path we believe is most relevant. Regardless, are you able to confirm the death of the entity the Partuvians call Nessus?
Yes. The entity is very much dead. Its body appeared to be primarily a mass of soul gems, although of surprising resilience. We were not able to damage it in any way,
Fascinating.
nor even carve it somewhat.
And the site,
The weapon,
pardon, the site's
yes,
defenses, you say that you have neutralized them. It should be relatively safe to investigate further.
it should be, but whoever is sent there should note that the area is infested with loose souls.
Understood. That could interfere with some of our more complex machinery. Even so, it'll be good to have a site on which to test various devices. For many years, we have prototyped weapons that we have theorized could damage a divinity, but this will be our first opportunity to test against the actual body of one. Moving on.
I should note about the weapon we found embedded in the corpse. It was some manner of necromantic device, immaterial, and it's the portions that actually interacted with the entity were incorporeal.
Unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Many have postulated it is impossible to interact with these invaders except on their own terms, using their own powers. I personally dislike that theory. It reeks of defeatism to me. But it makes sense that it's such a tool as would be what the Erodon sorcerers would employ. Regardless, Maker, I have a proposition for you. If you wish, you may return to Lekmar post haste. You've done more than could possibly be expected of you. Return to the city and you'll have a promotion to Third Order, regardless. You deserve a well-earned retirement from field work for what you've done. And I expect that in your months in the field you've already gained more experience than many of our operatives have in years of operations. But should you remain in the field, I do believe that Lekmara has further use for you.
I intend to remain in the field.
I see.
Returning home has its appeal, but I must admit, I wish to see this operation through.
Very well. In that case, there is a matter of particular personal importance. That's why I requested to take this transmission. At the same time you were seized, many other Lekmaran outposts in Nyx were attacked. It was a wide-scale operation. We suspect that there was a leak of information somewhere. This included a field testing facility, where several new weapons are being developed, including one of particular note. My intelligence indicates that it has since been moved to the metropolis of Turling Berlin, likely a warehouse or storage area. It was slated to be shipped to Castor Spira, but the imperial cities on the continent have slowed their logistics to a crawl since your operation at Algid. Doubly so with the fall of Scitha. They have no idea what they have on their hands, and it is trapped in a larger shipment of miscellaneous devices intended for disassembly and research.
Do you have any details to share?
Yes. We have termed them
Continue.
the Arrows of Lakmara. Staves intended to interface directly with an identity core, allowing a single automaton warrior to fight as a phalanx. Initial tests in sealed environments have been extremely promising in both versatility and output, and while the presence of corruptive soul magic in the field does risk interfering with the delicate acotic signals, we believe that the field prototype is fully combat ready. Most important is to keep it out of hands of Imperial engineers. With a weapon potentially as powerful as this, the last thing we want is them being able to start development of countermeasures before we've even fielded it. But if you can reclaim the prototype proper, it's yours to use as you see fit. We will dispatch a core engineer via Skycutter to insist in integrating it into your identity core, if you wish.
I will see to that recovery.
Excellent, thank you. There is a further matter. The upcoming council. Folly will be representing us, however, by the particular nature of your involvement with what you refer to as your new group. You have an additional seat at the table. Do what you can to support Lakmaran interests from that position, to whatever extent you can.
I'll do what's possible.
Excellent, thank you. That will be all. It has been a pleasure speaking to you. And again, the promotion is yours. You are a teacher of the Order, as far as I am concerned. By the time you're returning home, I expect it will all be formalized. Good day, Maker.
Good day.
The communication cuts out with some degree of static, and you receive a clap on the back once again. Man, a promotion to Third Order with, what, few years in the field? That's borderline unprecedented. Look at you climbing the ladder.
It just goes to show you only have to explode one town for it.
You people complain about Justicia. Jeez.
Yeah. I'm evil? Great.
We're all evil here.
Anyhow, there is, I believe, still some time, so why don't we have a little celebration here? You know, I will say, working in the field like this, I have started to become slightly envious of the ability of flesh and blood creatures to get proper drunk. It seems like it has a certain appeal, you know? Folly just sits in a corner and shakes his head. But while Maker is engaged over there, we pivot back to Justicia, who...
Here I am.
Here's the thing, Justicia. You have been given a very nice, very traditional Partuvian dress. Not quite what a priestess would wear, but close enough that someone who looks at it would think, yeah, you look kind of priestess adjacent. And you are being toured through the streets with a small group. You've got a handful of guards there to ensure you have some space, and Crispin is just taking pictures routinely. He has a whole bunch of slates that he's recording these on, and we'll be sorting through them later. So you have some breathing room, but you're still shaking a lot of hands and listening to a lot of stories.
Good thing I have a lot of hands.
One of your first stops is there is a visit to the Grand Marketplace, where you do, in fact, have the opportunity to get some shopping done. But more important than shopping, you are encountering a lot of people, mostly older folks, middle-aged, elders, on errands. Many of them here while their children are in the nursery garden for the day. Basically every vendor here wants you to sample a bit of food. Everyone here wants you to try on a accessory or this or that and pose or have a conversation, but most of them just seem kind of tired. They rally a little in your presence. More than anything, they seem to want some kind of assurance that things are improving, that that they haven't just all doomed themselves by declaring their independence. Do you have any words of encouragement for them?
As I go on, or as a speech kind of deal.
You can outline what you're saying and just make a perform check.
Okay.
Just give the gist of what you're saying.
She is trying her best to skirt around anything negative. She gives thumbs ups. She says that He says general niceties and is having a little bit of difficulty coming up with like specific things to say that are 100% this is good.
Mm-hmm.
But she's trying. So a lot of the stuff she tries to do is distract from what she doesn't know and towards what she does. Talks about the stuff people are presenting more than the stuff that's happening, and congratulating people, saying the stuff they've done is great, and taking anything that is given to her and possibly passing it around.
Yeah. Like, honestly, it gets easier and easier to pass the food around because, like, very quickly, like, the like, here, try this, like, adds up. And it is like, oh, you've eaten, like, 2 lunches already, and it is too much food. But the sharing is welcomed, and give me a perform check.
Right here. Warm. There it is.
That's a
Ooh.
very good roll. Yeah, you are. Like, a lot of people look at you and they seem to, like, see some part of a sister, some part of a daughter in you. There's a lot of, like.
Well, maybe we could rephrase that because
I
I mean, I'm a little bit into fleshcraft.
Look. God damn it. No. -10. You. Look, as long as you avoid cracking jokes like that, they, metaphorically speaking.
She's held her tongue a few times.
Mm-hmm. Metaphorically speaking, like, you might not be Partuvian, but what you are is very good at being the kind of, like, distracting, upbeat, positive force that you're presenting yourself as. You are something that isn't just, like, dwelling on the things that these people have probably been dwelling on nonstop for weeks, that have just been, like, living in their head behind their eyelids when they're trying to sleep at night. And yeah, it's a bit silly. There's some laughter. There's a few cases where you stumble over some tradition or another, but despite kind of making a fool of yourself, people seem pretty forgiving of your mistakes. Like, no one's really expecting you to be Partuvian. They're expecting you to be someone who's here to help, and you genuinely come off as such. The atmosphere is brighter when you leave. But
Throat is getting a little sore.
She takes a bottle of one of the many liquids she was offering, checks the label to make sure it's not some sort of like fire lubricant or something,
she doesn't
and
like.
takes a swig.
Yeah, it's like a sweet, non-alcoholic. It's juice. It's like a juice beverage, basically. Like summertime beverage, sweet, cool.
My name is Destissia Volantalis, and this is my favorite shop in the Scitha.
You do not get a discount for doing that. I'm sorry. Well, you know, if you want to buy food, you get a, what is it? It's a 10% discount or something like that. You can have that discount. You can have the Commander Shepard discount for buying rations and better food if you want it. But after your meeting at the market, which takes up a good chunk of, like, the early afternoon, you are shuttled off vigorously to a path to the north of town. There's a training yard just outside the city walls to the north, up several flights of stairs and across a rope bridge that spans a narrow ravine. It's quite sturdy, stable wooden planks, enough that even the servitor escorting you has no difficulty crossing, but it's still a rope bridge, and just to be safe, you do ultimately end up riding, like sitting on the back of someone who is as tall as you are, just for the brief jaunt on the way across. It's a little silly, but nobody's watching. That being said, the actual training yard is a field where you've got several small, like, militia companies basically trying to whip into something approaching an organizing fighting force. Most of the recruits here are late teens, early 20s, a few older veterans, mostly in teaching positions. But it's the younger soldiers in particular that, like, crowd around and pay rapt attention to you, like wanting some, like, stories of heroics or action. Like, what have you done? Like, they want to hear about your feats of daring do. Is there anything you would like to regale them with?
Oh, let me tell you a story of...
She checks her notes.
Just checks the back of her hand.
Good thing she has so many. She just puts them all together and has a big line, run-on sentence. And she moves her can move her palms around so that way it changes the story. But
Right, so many hands to write on the backs of that you can, like, play Mad Libs with them.
So, of course, the roads to the Tomb of Nessus was fraught with danger. Creatures were dangerous and harrowing were abound. But there were insects greater size than myself, nearly carried away our robotic compatriot to some nest unknown. But fortunately, with the skills of a proper mage knight, I was able to wrest him from the grasp and felt the earth saving his dear life.
Give another performance check.
there.
Beep, beep.
Yeah. People, like, hang on to your word. You can see a few people, like, just, like, listening, like, go on, like, as you detail one encounter or the next. The battle with the bees, the battle with the armored beasts deeper in. Some of them are just enjoying the story of action. A few of them ask, like, pointed questions about, like, oh, like, where did you learn that move? Like, how do you do that move? Like, can you demonstrate? Like, can anyone learn battle magic like that? Is that something that we could add? Or
Well, let's see. Pretty much all you need is perseverance and a openness to try new things. I can tell that the soul arts are a bit of a issue here, but it's just another tool.
it's actually not. Soul magic is, like, Mara doesn't like it,
Oh.
but Partubians, they have druids. Like, there's a bit fewer
right.
arcanists, but, like, soul magic is common here. They used to have clerics.
Oh,
they used to
okay.
have loads of clerics, but, like, the clerics are non-functional presently.
It's all about weaving the arcane with, like, arcane gestures into the motion, arcane casting gestures into the movements of your blade and body, casting through the entirety of the attack instead of just swinging your hands and hoping a fireball comes out. I have an advantage because I have so many of these.
She puts up her a few of her hands.
But I think it's really something anyone can learn. It's a dance in the song of battle.
There is, like, a spider recruit in the back who, like, when you say that, you just see him go, like, yes, like I have hands too. I'll make a great battle mage. But you're met with like cheers and eventually the drill sergeants who seem to be having a good time themselves, like they kind of like wave you off, like please leave so that we can actually be productive with our day of training. But it has been, for all the actual recruits, one of those nice unexpected moments where a grueling day of swinging sticks at other sticks is interrupted with something quite a bit rarer and more enjoyable.
If you get really good, you can do something like this.
She casts Blazing Dive,
Oh my.
which sends her 60 feet into the air. 30 feet? Right, let me read the magic.
60 is a lot. 15. It's 15 straight.
No, 15.
60 feet into the air.
100 feet into the air. No,
200 feet into the air.
no, I think it says you fly 15 feet straight up and then 60 horizontally, right?
Yeah. Yes, and then she blows something up over to on the edge of the woods.
Like splintered sticks fly all over the place, and you get some cheers as you're led away to the sound of your adoring fans. Devotees? Question mark. Fans? Question mark. Unclear. But it's clear that a few people at least have casual plans to try and emulate you, though the rigor of Magus training might put them off once they realize what's actually involved.
Oh yeah, I probably should have told them that. Oops. Oh well.
Hey, you said they have to put in hard work, right? You warned them, basically.
Step 1, stuff yourself with a lot of blood because you'll be casting that a lot.
Oh god.
Now that's a Desticius special.
Well, she's had 2 lunches, so I think that translates into extra blood. I don't know.
Hey, want to see something cool? Sticks herself with a pin, does 1 point of damage, activates Blood Vendetta.
Wouldn't that deal more damage to herself?
No, actually, I just need to take damage, slashing or piercing damage, and then I explode.
I thought Blood Vendetta dealt damage to the target that damage deal. Okay.
No, yeah, it does.
Yeah, but you're
damage to
damaging
the-
yourself is the
that's
thing. So
right. Yeah, I
Yes.
actually would start bleeding profusely.
It's fine, I'm fine, just get a
you ever,
bandage.
bleed so hard the blood erupts from the injury and scars you and causes you to start bleeding more. That's
Ever bleed so hard you kill someone?
Not yet.
And it's really frustrating me.
Fang just muttering out how cool that would be. Wow. But your afternoon and morning spent. There's one more stop on your itinerary for the day. And while you have been kind of dreading this one, it's a visit to the nursery garden in the evening. And honestly, after the rest of the day, it's actually kind of relaxing to just be handling some sleepy children who think you're very cool and easily dazzled with small feats of illusion and conjuration. The caretaker has politely asked that you avoid anything too overly gruesome, but you have been asked for
He stops casting Grim Tendrils.
But you have been asked for a story, regardless. You actually notice that some of the children here are not being actively excluded, but seem to be decidedly more jittery and traumatized than others. Some imperial children. And they are kind of off to one side. They don't really seem to want to approach you. But they're in the general group, and they're definitely paying attention to you.
Oh, okay. Story. Let me think. Oh, I like this one. I don't think it's gruesome. It should be fine. It's a story. It's one of the stories of Atlantis. It's a short one, but one I really liked. All right, let's see.
And she goes over, takes a seat where the children can see her.
Let's talk about Valantimus and the cycle of teeth.
Oh, this is going to be great.
On his journeys, Volantilis came across many gods, those worshipped and self-proclaimed. One such journey led him to the Gorge of Foya, near the border of current-day northern Eridon and Gozira, following the rumors of a beast professing its ascendance. Down the gorge he descended, till he found a cave, and at its entrance were scattered teeth of various shapes and sizes, and beyond that, a cat. The cat looked at him and smiled, and when it did, Volantilus knew it had exactly 41 teeth. Another seeks to disprove my divinity? Come forth, for you speak to the cycle of 42 teeth. Volantilus, tired from the trek, brushed away some discarded molars and sat before the creature. Nay, replied Volantilus, I seek to follow your path. How did you achieve your enlightenment? The cycle of 45 teeth grinned wider, just passing its ears. Oh, believe me, do you? Wonderful. I grew tired of your kind asking me for miracles. The cycle of 50 teeth stepped to sit beside Volantilus, and together they shared a view of the gorge's high walls
lady?
that split to reveal the sky.
Lady, one of the kids in the crowd.
Yes,
Why does the number of teeth keep changing?
you will, because it's a cycle. It's a cycle. It will. You'll see it at the end.
Okay, it doesn't make sense. The child seems very confused, but you can continue.
But it's a good question, and I'll try to answer it when we finish the story. But it's difficult. Some questions are asked only because you don't see the full picture. So let's continue painting that picture. Let's see. They shared a view of the gorge's high walls and that split to reveal the sky. I am a curious creature, as no doubt you are as well. Well, what do you think I did? I will tell you if you're correct. I have met with a few who could call themselves gods, and though they were much powerful, they too were very much mortal. I believe power is not the answer, at least it alone. The cycle of 67 teeth nodded sagely, evidently pleased with the answer, as its smile crept towards its shoulders. I had met with an old woman of the forest, a meek little thing, but her wit could cut a tree in two. She had difficulty carrying a cane, but in contradiction, she seemed to be able to fell a castle with words alone. So, was it knowledge that rose you? The smile deepened as the cycle of 224 teeth shook its head, and the grinning revealing ribs and incisors. Try again. I met a dragon who was regarded as a god by its people, and from it gained strength to defeat all contenders to its throne. Is it derived from your followers? The cycle of 598 teeth chuckles. You're the first not to call me a demon. You think any would follow me? You're obviously you have obviously done something to ascend. Volantilis questioned. You are no longer normal. Oh, what is it that you have done? The cycle of 1,029 teeth began to laugh, grinning. Its grinning maw having well past its tail. It laughed and laughed, the sound of enamel clacking against the ground, teeth spilling about the bottom of the gorge. Not normal. It is you who is strange, to be so diligent in gazing at what you are not. Gazing at what you are not, that you do not see what you are. You are all strange, and it is I who has become normal. To be what actually is. Evidently, it was done with its interview. as the cycle of 41 teeth walked back down its rows of teeth. Keep guessing, strange child of mortals. Guess and guess. Infinite questions will get you infinite answers, and maybe one of them is the one you seek. Laughing and laughing, it disappeared behind a wisdom tooth, and it was gone. Volantilus sighed heavily, again met with nothing. He had already asked many questions already, of so many people. He looked up at through the split in the earth above, at the canopy of blue. He stood up and walked back up the gorge. Fine, he would continue to ask, to question and wonder. He did not find his answer today, but he was not deterred.
Bishisha has like the blankest stares leveled at her. Just the children have like absolutely no idea how to parse what you just told them. Like one of them, like she raises her hand.
Yes?
So, do you have cats like that on the mainland? That's scary.
No, no, no. It's only scary because these were words. You don't. It's
I
the
think that would
words
be
came out,
scary
and
if there was a cat with 1,000 teeth.
it could be. But did you notice? It brought Volantilus no harm. It sounded scary, but it was actually quite
Didn't
kind.
you dump a bunch
It
of teeth on him?
it was just part of its cycle. It was strange. You're not sure what happened, but does that make it evil? Does it make it dangerous?
I don't know.
Well, then you ask, you question, you wonder, you find the answers, and through infinite questions, you gain infinite answers. You start to learn of the world around you. Asking, not standing by and letting things go past without questioning will never lead you to the path of ascendance or to the answers you seek. This story is deliberately confusing. It's meant to have you ask questions. Why was it a cycle? Why did it have teeth? What are the stories Volantilus ran into before?
Tisha
Seek
just
out
gives
those
like
answers.
a pat on her shoulder from like the nursery caretaker of like, Lady Volantilus, it has been
Yes?
lovely having you here. Thank you for your story. I'm sure everyone enjoyed the story very much. It's very unique. It's a very different story. You know, we have our own stories of the Volantilises, but they're a lot less esoteric. This is an interesting one to add, though. Are all
I know that look.
She just kind of wilts a little bit.
I guess you have one of the abridged versions.
you know what? Why don't I share one of my copies with you? And I'm sure you already know them already, but you might get some more child-friendly versions. Yeah?
What's so?
They,
What does
Lady
that sound?
Volantilus, these are young children. They have had dinner already. They are tired and about to go home. We don't need them having nightmares. Their parents will get angry at me.
Nightmares?
Okay? Thank
How
you.
was it nightmares? I thought it was a
Okay,
really
thank
nice
you.
story.
Thank you. Everybody say thank you. There's like a chorus of thank you. Thank you, Lady Volantilus. And
Oh, okay. Bye.
She waves. 'Cause you couldn't help but feel a little bit hurt that this was supposed to be that this was considered a scary story, but
the story about
she
the
just kind
infinite
of
teeth.
she thought it was a rather hopeful story.
There is a someone who actually does seem to be paying attention the whole time. There's like a one of the imperial children. There's like a girl who's like kind of standing off, looking at you, who seems like she wants to say something but doesn't really want to approach you.
being a question unasked, he kind of just slides over to the young child.
Is there something I can help you with?
Are you from?
You didn't find this story scary, did you?
Are you from Eridan? Like real Eridan, the Empire, the real part of it, not out here.
She crouches down.
Yes, I grew up there.
Is it better there than here?
I would not say so. It's different. And just like in the story, just because it's different doesn't mean it's better or worse.
Do you
We have things that you don't, and here you have things we didn't.
think they'd take me if I went there? My parents aren't around anymore.
Hmm.
I don't think I like it here without them. It's scary.
Oh,
You see the
well,
caretaker just kind of wince out of the corner of your eye.
well,
She takes a moment to think about an answer.
I don't think Eridan is the place to go right now. It's currently undergoing some change. But change isn't always bad. Um, I think if you... What do you find scary here?
The fact that my mom and dad were killed?
Ah, that would do it. Um, well, uh,
She looks over at the
The
caretaker.
caretaker just like lowers her voice. They were officers in the garrison force. A few of the officers and officials here had families. We're trying to take care of them, but it's not as if we could leave them alive. They controlled the thralls.
hmm. Hmm. This is out of my area of
You know what?
expertise.
Lady Valantilis has a lot to do. I don't think there's an easy answer to your question, Vita. Why don't you let her go and we can talk about this later, okay? The girl just, her eyes kind of drift to the floor and she nods. Okay.
Hmm.
Sorry for keeping you.
Well, I'll be going then. See you all at the festival. I hope, you have fun.
She just kind of awkwardly walks away. Blades chinking on
clink,
the floor.
And as you do so, you notice it is getting dark. The moon is starting to rise. You've got an hour to make your way up to the Moonlight Springs, where the Council of Scitha Ligan will be underway. And the first real meeting about the future of Partu is going to commence.
She distinctly a little more depressed than she was before.
But I think that because we are missing a Yuli, we will do Yuli's little solo adventure at the start of next session. And this will be where we wrap up this one.
Okay.
That's very reasonable.
For now, this has been a lovely time thank you to everyone for hanging out. Thanks to everyone for playing. Thanks to everyone in the audience for watching. I had meant this session to end on a more upbeat note, but we're missing the last person here.
The last member of the DK crew.
But if you've enjoyed this game and are interested in participating in something like it, you can hire me. I run tabletop games professionally in a wide variety of systems and genres. Just check out the About tab on my channel for a rundown on how you can get in touch with me. I'd love to work with you to set up exactly the kind of game you and your group are looking for. Until next time, be kind where you can, brave where appropriate, and always try to act in solidarity with those less fortunate than yourselves.